Did you see this campaign between On and Zendaya? It drove 40,000 followers for On.
This gum brand made $1 million with 3 videos on TikTok.
The biggest mistake I see that brands make when they work with influencers or celebrities is they never tailor the experience to the influencer, to the celebrity. Everything just feels like a money grab.
More brands should take advantage of this thing called confirmation bias.
Comparing his engagement rate to a staple brand's engagement rate, his is more than 10x their engagement rate, same follower base, but what he's doing is this.
And what do you expect? To use the enemy framework once again.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Sweat Equity. I got nothing engaging. I'm still like very monotone from getting sick, recovering over here. Drinking a Gatorade on set. I feel like I just took a sip. I feel like I just drank 80 grams of sugar off rip. It's crazy.
Yeah, and like the thing is, some things are just, you have to do it.
Yeah.
No matter what the consequences are. I think Gatorade, when you're sick, that's one of those things.
And I don't even think it does anything. It's placebo effect completely. Like there's no way it's good to drink.
What a psyop by them to be like, this is like, drink these electrolytes while you're sick.
50 grams of sugar.
50 grams of sugar in that one bottle?
In this one bottle.
Bro.
That is crazy. There's no way I'm going to, oh my gosh. There's no way I'm going to drink that.
Yeah. I mean, any sort of leaning out that you're trying to do, one Gatorade just smacks it.
Wrecks it.
Yeah. You're done for.
What you got this week?
So I talked to this guy, Nate, on Twitter, and he had a really cool brand called Underbrush Gum. And he made $1 million with 3 videos on TikTok Shop.
Wow.
And it sold him out each time. And each video is so brilliantly executed from a founder brand, from a brand storytelling perspective, that I thought going through the videos, and we'll put them up on the YouTube, but I thought going through the videos would help people a lot because, you know, everyone asks like, what content do I create? What content do I create for my brand? Mm-hmm. Dude, build in public, but don't make it cringe. Yeah. And I know that's, you know, harder said than done,
for sure.
But like the way that he is able to hook you, he does 2 things. He hooks you very well with his visual and his spoken hook. And then the story is very compelling as well. And it's kind of, you know, the term arm the rebels was very prevalent a few years ago when Shopify was kind of, you know, really exploding on the stock market. And arming the rebels should not have gotten hijacked by Shopify. Like it is actually like a really strong narrative, like the Robin Hood narrative, like big industry is, you know, beating you down. I'm trying to, you know, start a movement to rally against them. That's really compelling. And he does a really good job of including facts, including a lot of different ingredients. And one of the things that he does that I thought is really important is he uses confirmation bias. And this is something that like, I think more and more marketers should try and understand, and maybe they do it subtly without explicitly knowing what they're doing. But like, you know, say things that people already believe in, that like say the quiet part out loud in your messaging, and it's a really easy way to find your tribe. So go through that a little more in depth, but what do you got?
So, well, I'm going to touch on one thing that you actually just said. When you talked about telling your story or essentially building in public in a non-cringe way, there's a brand that I'm like falling, or this account that I'm falling in love with because I'm just rooting for the guy through and through. So have you seen Poorboy Coffee?
No.
Look this up.
I haven't. P-O-U-R?
What did you? No, like Poorboy, like I am poor. Poorboy.
You're not poor
coffee.
though.
I'm not. I'm just
You're
saying
these
like
influencer bags. We need to talk about it.
And so what you're going to see is he's through the brand account, he's building in public. Yeah. And so it's, you know, he has this video, day in the life, bootstrapping a coffee business, numbers in 3 months or 3 months in, like these are the numbers. And he's completely building the brand account in public through, essentially through his lens, and like sharing it all with everybody that comes through the brand account, through his doors, etc. And if you look at, so I have this tool, I forget what it is, Keywords Everywhere. Have you ever got Keywords Everywhere?
No.
So I have it linked up to Instagram. And so I could see average likes per post, average comments per post, and the engagement rate, their average engagement rate. And I could compare it to, you know, any other account. So Summermoon is a coffee shop here in Austin that I get every single day.
No, you love Summermoon.
Every single day. I mean, I texted John, for example, this morning, and I was like, yo, on the way, he's like, can you get me Summermoon? Like,
part of me thinks that Summermoon might be a little jealous about you doing a segment on Poorboy Coffee.
Oh, yeah, 100%, because I'm about to kind of go in on it. So if you look at Summermoon, which they're a very well-known brand, like people are, they're very loyal to Summermoon here in Austin, especially just because of like big coffee brands like a Starbucks versus the Summermoon, like the small, like the smaller brand.
Very similar logos.
Yeah. And so the thing that is very interesting is Summermoon has 48,000 followers, right? Average likes per post, 165. Average comments per post, 7. Engagement rate, 0.36.
Right.
Now, I don't know if I already gave the numbers for Poorboy Coffee, but I'll say them again. Okay. Average likes per post, and they have 39.4 thousand followers. 1,824. Average comments per post, 71. Engagement rate, 4.81%. So what do you like? What is the common denominator? Or what is the outlier here? The outlier is Poorboy Coffee is telling a story, and they're getting people to rally behind their story and getting them to essentially root for what they're trying to achieve in this this bigger goal that they're trying to achieve, which is an interesting play when you look at it from the side of just engagement metrics. So you just see, dude, average comments per, like 71 comments per post is a lot.
Yeah,
like that is not an easy thing to do for a brand that has roughly 40,000 followers.
And dude, I think this contrast could be potentially the best example of all time of if you are trying to launch something and get it off the ground, the importance of focusing on content in today's day and age. Like Summermoon is clearly, they don't give a shit.
Don't give a shit. They're
trying to keep the lights on Instagram. They probably have a 70K social media manager. No shade if you watch this podcast, but like, and she's like, wow, fuck these guys. But seriously, like they're just posting like
just product shit,
generic, like something new is brewing, like, dates for events. It's like, it's kind of like a millennial, like 2013 Instagram. Like they still haven't realized that they need to be creating compelling video.
100%.
And meanwhile, Poorboy, he's going crazy. Like everything he's on, his face is on every single grid image.
Every single thing.
Meanwhile, Summermoon doesn't have any faces, right? I mean, they have one face and she's just blurred out holding a coffee.
It's just like a model holding a coffee, right?
Like it looks like they got that off Getty Images, Like, so I think that this is just a perfect example. You don't really have a choice in today's day and age. Like if you want to launch something and you're not comfortable creating reels or creating TikToks, like you actually might not want to launch it straight up.
100%.
Like it's by far the highest leverage thing you can do.
And I don't know if you saw Gary actually post about this, but I thought it was interesting that he posted about it.
No, you did not just say.
I did.
Gary V.
No, but I said it on the podcast.
Come on, you can't be hitting Gary V with the first name basis.
What you mean, Gary V?
You said Gary.
No, I said Gary V. By the way, guys.
Tape.
By the way, guys.
He said I saw Gary.
He's saying this. He's saying this because Gary DM'd me. Oh, I just hit him with the first name.
Come on,
Gary
bro, you're
DM'd
Hollywood.
me,
you're
and
different
now
you're different.
I DM'd him on the.
I would do anything for John to have been here and heard that.
That's
anything.
Fine.
Accountability in this office.
You know what is kind of crazy is like once somebody sends you one DM, it's like I could DM you any point. So like.
For sure.
I just DM'd him when his book launched. I was like, "Congrats on the launch, bro."
Yeah.
It's like
he hit you with that double tap or what?
No, he commented, "Thanks, bro." He literally said, "Thanks, bro."
Damn.
We had conversations in DMs.
Oh, that's what's up.
Do you want to see?
No. Don't anyways, put your DMs in the wild.
Hook it up, Cade. Let's show this. But anyways, what I was saying about Gary V was the fact that he was talking about organic content is now performance marketing. Like that is your paid channels.
Mm-hmm.
And how everything needs to start there, and the opportunity is now that big brands still don't understand that is where they need to put all of their attention, and it'll funnel upwards versus in the past it funneled downwards from performance down to organic, and now it's organic to upwards.
I mean, that is literally the bull case for what I'm doing. Is I'm focused on becoming the best product oriented storyteller for short form video. Like we want to be that, and like to your point, the big boys don't get it yet. Think about when they do. If a lot of D2C brands already understand like, oh, this is how I can kind of get my name out there, and it's a way for, as we just mentioned, for upstarts to do it. Well, what happens when the big boys recognize what the 100%. Upstarts are doing? Like they're going to want to focus on that as well.
But the other thing is these big brands are always like 5 to 10 years behind.
It's crazy.
So it's like by the time they do catch up and they figure something out, they can move at like a faster speed, but they're going to be so far behind from the next thing.
Yeah, probably.
And it always plays like that.
Probably on that Vision Pro.
Something.
Yeah.
Something. But what I got today is I'm going to be talking about On Running. I'm sure you saw the partnership that they did with Zendaya.
I saw it because everyone talked about it. I actually didn't see it organically.
Interesting.
I'm like so in the marketing sphere that like I'm catching news from marketers about marketing without seeing the original marketing.
There's this
it's whack.
There's this lady. Do you know Carrie Rose from Rise at 7? She's like this creative SEO performance agency. No. She crushes. She absolutely crushes. Carrie Rose.
Rose.
I want to get her on the podcast. I've had her on 30 Minutes of Growth long time ago, but she's
redheaded lady.
Yeah. She's from the UK. I think they have a New York office, but she's in Austin. You were talking about how you're getting all your news from marketers, and basically what she was saying was like, think about anytime you craft campaigns, think about how you can get the marketer to write about you.
Yeah.
And if you could get the marketer to write about you and create content about you, then eventually like USA Today, New York Times, all these other companies will write about you.
Kate Calloway, just so smart. Like he literally the
Dropkit?
The Dropkit thing, like, dude, dialed. Like every brand should have Dropkits. Like it's so crucial, and it's so wild that they don't do this.
So okay, for context, for people who don't understand what that is, a drop kit, it's almost like the modern day PR release, right? Or like PR kit. And what Kane's talking about is this idea of like when there's a big announcement or a big product launch, instead of these creators having to dig around and find creative to use in their videos,
or like watching the hour and a half YouTube video 100%. And then like downloading the hour and a half YouTube video and finding the part that they need to cut.
Yes,
like
you're putting all the images and clips and vertical video within some like Dropbox or whatever
it's like a digital creative asset folder to make their coverage of your announcement much easier.
And it's free for everybody.
Right.
Free for everybody.
Which is just so insane that they aren't doing this, because the whole entire point of social is the network effect.
Yeah.
Like you should be making it as easy as possible for civilian journalists to cover you. And that's really what, Kane is. I mean, like he's a lot of it, like his Stanley content, like a lot of this stuff, like when you're talking about civilian journalism, I wouldn't say it's like the right term, because that kind of sounds like you're trying to like cover a war zone or
like
some
the
shit.
idea behind Substack, right? Like everybody can be a journalist because they give you the tools for it, or whatever platform, right? You want to promote.
And like building your brand with that in mind is like very smart, because
100%.
you just make it so much easier for these people. Like coordinated talking points, we talked about that last week with Liquid IV. Like they're briefing all of their affiliates with, hey, talk about these 5 things. Like ever since I said that on the pod, every single brand that I work with is like, so what are our 5 things? You know? Yeah, which I kind of fucked myself there.
Isn't it funny how you say something on the pod and then it is like instantly brought up in a meeting?
Yeah.
It happens pretty often.
For sure.
Now.
I need to stop overcommitting.
All right, so let's jump into this.
All right.
So I'll talk about On Running first. So one, this partnership with Zendaya, it's kind of one of the first partnersship that they do that they work with a non-athlete, because everything that they've done in the past.
We might have to move the Gatorade.
Why?
It's
right there, baby.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool, Blue.
And we got to clean your water bottle.
It's chalk. Some of us lift weights, man.
I do it. I got nothing. Let's go. Keep going. I'll derail this whole shit.
Okay, so On Running, this is kind of their first partnership where they work with somebody that's not an athlete. Obviously Zendaya is just like a superstar and a celebrity and a movie star, but like,
did it have anything to do with it? I mean, so obviously Challengers was a sports related movie.
Did you watch it?
No.
I thought it was terrible.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't
like the 3-way dynamic romance type vibes. Shit made me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And Zendaya,
you're derailing this whole conversation.
Yeah, I won't go there. Go ahead.
I'm gonna start this section over again. So, On Running just launched this partnership with Zendaya, right? First kind of individual that they work with that isn't an athlete. She's obviously big name, celebrity, etc. But it's pretty cool because in the last 4 or 5 days, they've added 40,000 followers on IG, right? But what I really like is how they promoted this campaign. I touched about this framework in the past, but it's like tease, hype, collect, push and pull. They're so big that they don't really have to do the collect side, right? Like where you collecting emails, that's more so, or SMS, that's more so for a startup or, kind of mid-sized brand. So on their end, it was really tease, hype, push and pull. And so if you look at the campaign, what they did is, and I think this is becoming inevitable for brands, is where you have to show the BTS behind campaigns.
Yeah.
Like you can't just drop a campaign out of nowhere and then just not show anything behind the scenes where people get to be like, okay, is this and I hate to use the word authentic, but like, is this a real relationship between the brand and the individual? And with Zendaya, like because of them showing the BTS of the content, you see that and you learn that she's actually she would always wear on clothing or on not on clothing but on shoes when she was on set, because she's like, I'm always on my feet, these are very comfortable, it's easy to just go about my day with these. So looking at how they launched the campaign, they put out 9 posts within less than a week on their IG. So the first thing was like, they teased it, right? They shared that they were putting together a film for the partnership, so it wasn't just like collab content, it wasn't anything basic like that. It's like they put together a whole film for the release of this partnership, which I thought was really interesting. Then they hype it in the next thing. They put out a carousel, and it's like a mix of beautiful, like stunning shots, like perfectly taken, perfect composition, and then a mix of like BTS and clips, just like carousel showing a little bit of behind the scenes of the film, clips from the film, and then like beautiful shots and stills taken from the film. And what I thought was super interesting was, if you go to it, so you should check it out, like go to on Instagram and then go to the link in their bio, and I think you're going to be like, wow, like this, if you're going to execute an influencer, and she's obviously much bigger than an influencer, but like a celebrity campaign or influencer campaign, you should be building out dedicated landing pages.
Right. And it's in the bio. It's the dedicated landing page.
But like, go to the landing page. It is beautifully executed. So they're funneling people to the landing page, right? On the landing page, the hero is to watch the film or to explore the set, right? There's 2 CTAs. And when you watch the film, it's like this, it's just like a beautiful masterpiece. It gives me like big Dune vibes for this, which is pretty fitting. But then when you go through the landing page isn't like just trying to promote product. It is a mix of how Zendaya got connected to On, social proof and storytelling about it.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
What are they? So they made a film. Are they doing collaborative products?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
So this is a Zendaya edit. This is okay. The cloud tilt, the movement bra. Got it.
So I feel like they took a lot of their top performing products and then like gave her like a spin on it. Let her put a spin on it. But the cool thing is like they really did a good job of taking the campaign and like making it this whole movement, right? This idea of dreaming together. And because they've never really worked with anybody outside of athletes, the whole campaign is, hey, we can dream together. We can do all of these different things, even if we're not athletes.
You know, with this, like, I just got to say it. Someone a while ago was like, everyone just copies Kanye now. It's
Kanye vibes, yeah.
And this is so like Kanye Yeezus tour, like Kanye like Life of Pablo tour.
Was it like Sunday service?
Like 2016 to like 2019 Kanye vibes, and like
that's fair.
It's just some real stuff. Like he gets so much hate, but like this is exactly what it is. Like they're all in like these muted outfits, like surrounding her as the centerpiece, doing some weird ass dances. Like I don't know, it's like worship vibes. I mean, it's a really like compelling visual. Yeah, you're like, what is going on? Amazing. I mean, it looks like a cult, but I mean, I vibe with it. That's kind of what running is, just a bunch of people in a cult.
I'm not even gonna go there, but yeah, it really is. And but then so like they launched the partnership, but then this idea of pushing and pulling, and so I think they did a great job of executing what I like to think of when you do release a campaign. There needs to be a mix of pushing and then pulling. And the pushing is, you obviously got to promote what you're selling, right? Like you got to promote the product that you just created and you spent all this time on, and you dropped a crazy bag on Zendaya to get her to become a part of it, right? All right, hold up, pause. Yep, this is an ad. The time has come. We have one ad in the podcast, but it's from a brand that I use and I highly recommend, and I recommend to any clients that I work with, and that's Yotpo. Creating email and SMS campaigns is sometimes like solving a Rubik's Cube. One person just purchased a product and all of a sudden they're getting a bunch of irrelevant emails to irrelevant products, and ultimately they unsubscribe. Why? And this is because you got sequences all over the place. There's no segmentation and conditions preventing you from sending emails to irrelevant people, again, with irrelevant products. And honestly, that's costing you a lot of money, especially when customers unsubscribe. So Yotpo launched campaigns where you have this bird-like view of all your email and SMS touch points across all campaigns. And the coolest part is it's all in one place. So creating campaigns and sequences and monitoring different conditions is right in front of you at all times. So if you're cranking email and SMS, this is just gonna make your life easier. And straight up, the best part is it's free, and you could take it for a spin by just clicking the link in the description. But if you look at their posts or their Instagram feed, there's only 3 posts that are actually pushing the product. And it's like carousel format, and it's promoting the products very specifically. It's like product shots. But it's still well executed. The other 5 posts relevant to the brand are really trying to get people to buy into the idea behind the campaign and the alignment between Zendaya and On, which I thought is very interesting. While they still like subtly, right, they're still promoting the product because she's in the product in all the images. So the whole thing here that I want to touch on, and I want to really hone in on it, and it's like the main takeaway is this idea of, if you are doing an influencer campaign, and there's a lot of, I mean, you do it now, right? Like there's a lot of brands that do this at scale with multiple influencers, but then they don't take the outliers and craft like intentional campaigns around them, and then intentional experiences around them, etc. And so, you know, with you'll have to bleep this out, Cade, but like we're building out those experiences. We're not, but like we're building those experiences out right now for a lot of their top athletes, because some of these athletes are getting like an insane amount of search volume. Their engagement rate is insanely high. They have their own lines, yet they don't have tailored experiences to them, which is such a flaw, right? Because if you're creating paid, if you're creating organic, it's all funneling down to the same experience as everybody else. It's like, no, like I want whatever this influencer whatever this influencer is promoting and is part of, I want that experience. And so this idea that On and Zendaya did, or, you know, mostly On and their marketing team executed, is like this entire experience from social to the landing page to then the products, from promotion to conversion, is focused and centered around Zendaya and how she's connected to the brand and her mission with this campaign, and like the idea that they had together to put this together. So just overall, like I think they executed this really well. The one crazy thing though is, and I don't know if you saw this, and you probably don't read captions on IG much, but you're not a read caption. You calling me illiterate? No. Damn. No. But the one thing that I am very surprised about is, like, I mean, I don't know how many followers Zendaya has, probably hundreds of millions.
Yeah, 184.
184. They did not get one collab post with her. And I bet you it was like,
because that's a silly bag.
I bet you it's like muddy waters to try to get that. Like you probably put that in the contract, like, hey, we going to make content with Zendaya, and then they think, hey, okay, that means collab content.
I mean, does she ever, is this like, this can't be her personal Instagram account? Like, I feel like she's got to have a burner somewhere. There's no way. Like 184 million followers, she follows 0. Like, this is strictly a business account.
Oh yeah, she definitely has a burner.
Right.
I mean, I think Kim's like on the other end, right? Like you could tell Kim uses hers as a personal, but I guess it's very different. But still, I mean, shit, 184 million followers and one collab post would go crazy.
I wonder if they need the collab post, or if all of Zendaya's friends or fans who like follow her would probably see this anyway.
I was, I mean, this is probably do you think this is a 8-figure deal? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 180. Yeah. So if
I think
I
think her brand deal negotiations probably started at 8 figures.
8 figures. If this is an 8-figure deal, dude, there's no chance I'm not getting a collab post with 184 million followers. You got to bake that in. And this is such a dialed campaign. Like, it is so beautifully shot where you're saying, like,
it's
crazy.
If like the baseline, like the collab was like an 8-figure deal. I mean, maybe it was less because they only got her likeness and the collab, and maybe it's like a rev share on the products. I don't know. Are these limited edition? Like, I get that they are, you know, the Zendaya edit, but I don't know. They're not like, they don't, like, nothing about them makes me think about her, if that makes sense. For sure. So I think, like, in 6 months from now, like, would you actually think that this is the Zendaya edit, or like,
if they continue going?
Yeah.
Right. Like, is this a year-long partnership?
It'd be a good question for Matt campaigns over Nice Kicks. What he thought about it.
It would be,
because I feel like he would have some knowledge on the deal.
I feel like that's what we should do with Matt. If we should have Matt back on, but if we do another episode with him, it's like dissecting different campaigns and the ideation behind them, etc.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing that came to mind when you were talking about that was, you know, how important a lot of brands would probably think, oh, for example, the one that you referenced is they probably don't have a huge marketing team and a huge amount of resources.
Who, Poorboy?
No, the one that shall not be named.
Oh.
And
no, they do.
How big is it?
The brand?
How many people on the marketing team?
Creator wise or overall?
Just like people that could execute like a funnel.
10 or 12.
I mean, and that's enough. Like, I think a lot of people look at doing a custom landing page for an athlete and they think this is hard. Whereas like they have to like start from zero, like, you know what I mean? But the barrier of entry to building out a lot of these assets has gotten so low at this point. Like between Canva, Figma, like templates for landing pages, like you really should be able to just launch custom landing pages on demand. And I think a lot of people probably don't want to do that, but in actuality, for any campaign, that's going to make it feel much more like in the moment. And something that the more I dive into, just especially broader consumer brands, it's like the moment is, it sounds very obvious, but like the moment is very important and people need to know that it's fleeting. And so the fact that a custom landing page is live makes you think, well, this obviously won't be in On's bio forever. Yeah. Like in 2 months, this will not be in On's bio. And so you're seeing
but
it now.
Will still live on their site, most likely. Like chances are it'll still live on their site.
Yeah, but you'll have to like nav to it.
For sure. 100%.
And so I do think that gives more of an urgency to take advantage of the collab. And, if they have super fans, then totally makes sense. And I think another big thing you're mentioning is that like, audience expansion is huge. Like when I talk to some of my buddies that run, really, really large consumer brands, they've hit a scale where the only next level comes from unlocking new personas. Yeah. How can they appeal to a new demographic? If they've already crushed it with the 25 to 44, like how can they now appeal to boomers? How can they appeal to people that previously didn't think the brand was for them? What is this? It's like, she's probably got like a pretty weird theater kid audience. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, it's not like she's not an athlete. Sure. Like she loves on running, but like
she looks pretty athletic though. Like she looks like obviously she works out, but she looks like
small forward build.
A small what?
Small forward.
Lanky. Small forward, like
tall,
basketball.
lanky.
Yeah. But based on what you're talking about, expanding into other demographics, and like sometimes it's the only way to grow your company. I had a conversation yesterday with a water brand, and you would know the water brand, right? And
are you talking Liquid Death?
No, that'd be sick.
Dasani?
But you can't just no.
I'll keep guessing.
Actually, you might not know the water brand. Now that I think of it, their founders exited one of the big, well-known water brands, and now is like in another space. But anyways, long story short, they kind of screwed up when they first were marketing and the way they were developing the cans and the coloring of the cans and just everything kind of where they only tailored towards athletes. And now they're looking back at the drawing board like, we don't only want to be solely focused on athletes. Like we've grown, we've hit like our ceiling, and now like our can will not attract a mom. And the mom who's trying to make sure that their kid stays hydrated, because it's like distilled water, but it has electrolytes, it has like all that kind of stuff, like a lot of like the electrolyte sticks, but in distilled water, but it's not carbonated. But anyways, their whole thing right now is that they're trying to figure out is like, damn, we need to change our messaging, we need to change our packaging, we need to change a lot of things on the brand side so that we can expand into other markets, because it's the only way we're going to be able to scale.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot there. But what is this? I'm very curious about this brand that made $1 million off 3 posts on TikTok.
Yeah. So I said 8 on Twitter because I just kind of I didn't want to get called out they posted 8 times total.
But like 3 are the ones.
3 of the videos. One video got 16 million views. The other one got 15.5. And then the other one got 5 million. And talking to the guy, it's like, those are the 3 that actually sold them out like crazy. So 3 videos, $1 million in sales. How do you do it? Well, you got to start from the drawing board and position yourself. Once again, we like the enemy framework. So he wanted to position himself as an enemy of big gum. So how does he do it? Well, he wants to show you like the ingredients, you know, above all else. Like there is a lot of potential these days in uncovering known commodities. So what am I talking about? Gum base. Gum base is a ingredient, and you've seen gum base as an ingredient somewhere. Like you've looked at a ingredients panel in the last 20 years and seen gum base. So what does he do? He says, do you actually know what's in gum base? Because that's not a naturally occurring element. Like that's not like a, you know what I mean? Like that's a compound that's been created. And he then proceeds to walk through all of the different carcinogens and like forever plastics, forever chemicals that go into gum base, where gum base is made. It's made next to a facility that like also makes tires. Right?
What's this brand again? I want to be able to look it up. So
it's called Underbrush Gum. And so, you know, his biggest thing that he goes into is the ingredients for like store-bought gum are terrible. And it's not just the stuff that people think about. That's another thing that I think he did an excellent job with his content is, so everyone knows that artificial flavors and, you know, there's like some well-known like compounds that are in store-bought gum that people understand are bad for you. And so that industry has already evolved to say, here's xylitol gum. It's aspartame free. Aspartame is like this really nasty, like sugar alcohol that is bad for you. And so that's obvious. And so what he does in his content, and I'll just read this because like the script is actually brilliant, is he goes, I was absolutely disgusted when I found out what ingredients are used to make store-bought gum. And I'm not just talking about the aspartame or the artificial flavors and colors. So to our point, like when you're writing these scripts, don't just word vomit exactly what you need to say. Incorporate the head fakes. Mm-hmm. I was disgusted when I found out about the ingredients, but it's not the ones that you think. It's actually this one. That is a way to prove that is a way to retain people for a longer time, because now they're like, oh, what's he actually talking about?
Because you're using that head fake where it's like,
you thought this was a boring video,
but this is really the reason why. And now that but is another hook.
Right. Because in someone's head, they're thinking, okay, this is just another video about something I know. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Like there might be new information here.
Yeah.
And like uncovering that new information is what's going to build trust with the viewer. It's going to build retention in their attention. So, you know, he's like, it's not just the artificial flavors. They all contain a mystery ingredient called gum base. Again, like gum base as a mystery ingredient. It's not a mystery ingredient. Like, why is that a mystery?
Yeah. Because
gum companies won't tell you what it is. Well, now he's backing into that enemy marketing framework. Big Gum is not going to tell you what's in gum base because it's very difficult to find out that it's actually made from petrochemicals. Like, and then he lists out the petrochemicals, which I wouldn't dare say what they are. But like petrochemicals, right? Like, do you want to be chewing on petrochemicals?
No.
Probably
not.
Doesn't
sound like something I'd want to be chewing on.
Nah. And so all of a sudden, you're 28 seconds into this video, and he has just completely established that Big Gum and store-bought gum is made of poison. And it's like, okay, sure. Like, tell me more, dude. Like, talks about how it's got, you know, more evil villains of 2024, like seed oils and other stuff. And, you know, their ingredients of choice are linked to things like cancer, Alzheimer's, infertility, and hair loss. And when they degrade, they litter our bodies and planet with microplastics. So, you know, 40 seconds in, like, Big Gum is evil as fuck. Mm-hmm. Like, they are trying to kill you. And so, like, he really hasn't introduced his product yet, but he's established a very clear problem and a why for why he's building his brand. Like, he is now the hero in this arming the rebels story. He is the guy that is trying to say, he's trying to plant his flag and say, no more. We're actually going to have a gum that is healthy for you, that is good for you to chew. And, you know, he proceeds to like say another thing that he incorporates in this video that was brilliant is he's like, I was always trying to avoid things like contaminated water and heavily processed foods, but little did I know that chewing store-bought gum all along was one of those things that was really unhealthy for me. So he's continuing to build his personal story. Like,
and there's the relatability of that, because that is something that, I mean, that's happened to me millions of times where I'm going to H-E-B. I look at my grocery cart and I'm like, everything in here is pristine. It's healthy. I'm eating great.
Let me get that juicy
But little
fruit.
did I know. Yeah. Well, I would have guessed with like juicy fruit.
Yeah.
I don't know how much is 5 Gum terrible?
Dude, all of them. They're all owned by the same company, Mars.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's like,
yeah.
Little did I know, 5 Gum is slowly killing me here.
Right. And so like, you know, you're constantly, he then says you're constantly chewing poison. I want to stop right here because the entire time that he has given you this narration of a really compelling problem statement, he's also just in a lab, in a food lab, preparing stuff. He's just hammering away at like, he's just like mixing ingredients, doing all sorts of stuff, like has everything like labeled and, you know, different colors. And it's like, it looks like he's building something from scratch. Kind of brings to mind, I mean, I'm sure you've seen is like, you know, I want to go make my own chicken sandwich at home and it costs me like $150 because you have to like have your own chicken and like water, like keep it alive, do all that stuff. Anyways.
Was that the George Mack one? I think George Mack put that out.
I don't remember. It's been like, there's been a lot of different memes around it right now because everyone's like, oh, shit's too expensive. And it's like, well, do you want a chicken sandwich? Like go make it yourself. Anyways. So 54 seconds in, he now decides to start introducing his product. He says, you know, I'm using ingredients like mastic chicle, spruce gums. You know, I enhanced it with 7 naturally occurring minerals, and these ingredients work to help reverse cavities and undo the abuse. So I also think a marketing angle that is extremely powerful in today's day and age is undoing the harm that you have experienced from outside toxins, or undoing the, you know, learned behaviors that, you know, the education system has put upon you. Like something that almost feels like a conspiracy. Like you, and this plays into the next thing I want to talk about, which is confirmation bias. So confirmation bias is when you see information and it resonates with you because it's something you agree with. Yeah. It's something that you already believe and you see the information and not everyone believes it. And so you now feel like, oh, I'm validated. Like this is great. Like someone else is, you know, spreading the good news. And the confirmation bias here is like, you have been eating unhealthy this whole time. Here's why. And here's the perfect product to solve that. So undoing the abuse, a phenomenal marketing angle. Continues to go like, this is the most remineralizing, like bacteria destructing gum, whatever. Now, that's his like debut. He you know, that was his first video. Banger, goes like
10.6 million views. Right?
Yeah, it went crazy. And so obviously like that sold just an unbelievable amount of gum. And what he does next, I think, is like such a good opportunity for people who are struggling to think like, okay, I don't want to just be shilling my product. Like,
look at you adding these hooks within your storytelling. What he does next is really what.
I mean, what are we doing if we're not getting better, you know?
Yeah.
But so, you know, what he does next is really interesting because he sees the comments on his video. All of them are saying, this is great, bro, but $18 for a pack of gum. I hate that I have to spend so much money. I have to be rich to be healthy. And he proceeds to his next video is all about the ingredients.
Is it one of those like it costs a lot because of the ingredients kind of videos and ads and shit like that?
Right. And so, you know, his visual hook is him spilling out spruce sap. And then he goes into, it's one of the most expensive ingredients in the world. He's holding it up, right? Like he's holding it up in a way, what?
Your angles, bro.
How bad is, no, I'm kidding.
Leave that shit in there, kid. Kay's not looking, but leave
honestly, bro, if you're on the YouTube at this point, that's a little Easter egg for you.
Yeah.
But so, you know, spruce sap is one of the most expensive ingredients in the world. And again, dude, he's so good at nostalgia and like because then he goes, it's one of the most expensive ingredients in the world, and the natives loved it for their teeth cleaning. So it's like calling out to this bygone era where we weren't so, you know, constrained by big industry and like all this like artificial materials. We were just using nature's stuff. Never mind like the health and wellness of the natives, right? Getting pieced out at like 31 average. But like, you know, it's like, you know, the natives loved it for its cleaning properties. Obviously we should go back to it. I love Nate, but like, that's just a crazy statement. Anyways, the gum soothing properties. And at one point it was America's most popular chewing gum was made from spruce sap. So I think that was another like really powerful kind of like dog whistle in a way. Like at one point it was America's favorite chewing gum, saying like before we were so constrained by monopoly, like he's very good at recalling this time that actually probably never really existed, which is like when big industry didn't dominate American shelves.
Is he the sole creator as well?
He's
like
ripping.
He's the one that
dude, he just like ripped these from the off
awesome.
the dome. Yeah,
That's
he's
awesome.
so talented. It was really great. And yeah, so I mean, before big gum companies switched to a synthetic like mystery ingredient called gum base, he's right back into the enemy marketing. His enemy is big gum's formulation of gum base, which has petrochemicals. So the rest of this video, again, he heard the concerns from his audience in that first viral video. This is a really expensive product. Gum is typically known as a very, very cheap product. And so he's saying, look, I get that it's expensive. It has to be. That's the only way to make this product so that it's not a poison.
Until they could get a mass scale and like slowly reduce it over time for sure. But
right, but I mean,
it's always going to be more expensive.
And even then, it's like, I don't know if you can get cheap spruce sap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if that's just getting trapped out somewhere. But another thing that he does that's really, really good is like his storytelling of, he did a follow-up video, like I really underestimated the power of TikTok because, he's like, y'all went crazy over this gum, kind of acknowledging like, oh, this is a community that I built. Like, when I went down the rabbit hole of ingredients, I didn't know that all of y'all would actually have so much. It's humble. It feels like, he's one of us. I think that's another thing that founders really need to do is like tell your story in a sense of you're just an average guy.
Yeah.
Like when we were talking about dupe.com the other day, he's like, yeah, never screw over a nerd, like never screw over one of us I'm like, cause we'll build something to like get you back. And I think he does the same thing here where he's like, I'm just like a random guy that makes gum,
did you see his bio? The Walter White of natural products.
Yeah.
I love that.
No, he's a G.
It's so good.
Yeah.
He posted something on Twitter that, cause I went to your thread and kind of clicked through to him.
Yeah.
I like that he posted this. Like it's a good follow up to building on TikTok, where he said TikTok is by far the best way to launch a brand, and here are the top reasons why. 1, you don't need a following to get started. Mm-hmm. You don't need a budget to get started. Mm-hmm. Every video you make has the potential to go viral. One video can take you from $0 to $100,000 per month. Right. TikTok is doing everything they can to get users to make their first TikTok shop purchase. They're offering insane discounts and free shipping to your customers, which they cover. Yep. And he's like, I know because this is my video, and it's just a screenshot that has 10.6 million views, which is a ridiculous number.
I mean, bro, he ran up like 45 million views in like 3 videos.
That's crazy.
I mean, he's just gone stupid. But like, that's the whole point of me calling this out is like, when you see videos with that level of success, you need to write down, you need to look at them through a lens of learning and not entertainment.
100%.
You have to look at the video and look at what are these key components that he integrated that I can adapt to my brand.
100%.
Because a lot of these things, like if you have any product in CPG and you have any of these different angles about ingredient highlights or rebelling against the machine, like you need to call those things out.
Yes.
And these are 1.5 minute videos, but like you're watching the whole thing. Like he also did not put his face on a single thing. I know so many founders that are afraid to create because they think you just have to hit it selfie style. Mm-hmm. And it's like, this is something I talk to my creators a lot about because like, we're not all good actors.
No.
Like, but that's just one content type. Yeah. Like there's so many different content types. There's third person,
voiceover, there's so
voiceover, day in the life narrative. Like there's like all sorts of stuff. Like, but he's just all faceless iPhone POV. Like it's so compelling and it looks so natural on your phone. Yeah. It looks like you're almost looking at a video that you filmed.
Can you send me his account, dude? I could not pull it up on TikTok.
It's Nathan and Sons is the actual TikTok account. And then the product is.
What is it? Nathan and what?
Nathan and Sons.
Nathan. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can see that. So,
and then, just another reminder, like you're earning people's attention. Like his, let's count the amount of shot types in his first viral video.
Count the what?
I'm going to count the shots in his first 7 seconds of his first video. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He has 9 different cuts in his first 7 seconds. By that time, I've literally seen 5 ingredients. He's flipped this ball of gum base. Like, make sure, like, I think your Pope in the pool thing, like, the fact that that's not more understood is unbelievable. Yeah. Like, it needs to be the foundation of most people's shot type strategy. Like, you should immediately be thinking, like, what is this little Easter egg that I can include in this visual to get people's attention?
And for context, for anybody that just heard him like reference Pope in the pool and this is your first time listening to this podcast, it's like a little technique when you're opening your hook of you doing something else while you're giving, the technical word is like an exposition. Like, you are rambling, you're giving context, some kind of information, and you are doing something else. So if I'm talking to Brian and I'm like, so this is how this account grew to 100,000 followers, like, I could be opening this Gatorade bottle, putting the cap on while talking to you, and it's like this, the movement of me putting the cap on the Gatorade bottle while I give you some kind of information makes it like double as compelling, because you're paying attention to me do that you're almost like staying for the information. And
this is a really good way to phrase it. So the Pope in the pool is it's having 2 things going on at the same time. Number 1 is exposition.
Yes.
And number 2 is something entertaining that distracts the audience
from the
nothing,
exposition,
from noticing that they're being fed exposition.
Yes.
And then, because I am also an ape, like many people watching this podcast, I looked up the definition of exposition because I thought that was expedition, like Fernando Magellan type shit. But it's a comprehensive description and explanation of an idea or theory.
Yeah. And for short form, that's your hook, right? Like, that is in a lot, like the on running, she's like, hey, I'm going to Denmark today to run with blank, blank, blank. And she's putting sunscreen on her face as she's saying. Right. So it's like, it's the opening hook versus, some film.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very powerful technique. And it's one that's been like sitting just in my head for the last few weeks, ever since I talked about it. Cause I'm like, I watch my green screen videos and they're crushing, but I'm like, I know they can crush, but like they could hit even just bigger numbers if I could figure out how I do something during the green screen video that is that like adding kind of the Pope in the pool technique. I
mean, maybe it is, I think a lot of your peers and creators are experimenting with different content formats. And we talked about that rapper. What was that rapper that we talked about like early in Sweat
Connor Price?
Connor Price, yeah, where he's like doing like these feature-length films with his wife and shit. Yeah. Like, could be interesting. Like, I think about how the clipped guys do the green screen thing where he like pulls the green screen and then goes into like an animation. Yeah. Like
that's Pope in the pool in many ways though.
In some ways, yeah, it is. But I think it's also just like another content format that you haven't explored where like you've done a lot of green screen, but like you could also do like you have a dope office now. It could be like, that could be your hook. I mean, Kane does this really well too. Like Kane will do like the split screen where it's like him in his office and then like some sort of like
something above his head.
Visual above him. And then he like goes into that full screen and then he like kind of comes back into it. But like, he's never green screening necessarily. He's always like from his really nice camera, like sitting in that chair. So,
and again, I didn't take enough swings at this, but I made a video about True Classic when I had like 10, 12-ish thousand followers. Different but similar script to the one that I made that went viral. Shot on my DSLR, went split screen, dude, and it bombed. Yeah. Absolutely bombed.
Classic confirmation bias.
And then like 2-3 days later, I put out that good content versus bad content running brands, and it's almost at 1 million views.
And he's never been the same, ladies and
never
gentlemen.
been the same.
Now it's all influencer bags.
All influencer bags.
Yeah.
This dude's it's gonna be my first vid on IG though. It's gonna hit 1 million.
What?
Good content versus bad content running brands.
Oh, tight.
It's
Hell yeah.
At like 975, 985.
Damn.
And it's continuing to climb.
How much are you watching that thing?
No, not as much as you think. I started checking it because like I hadn't looked at it in a minute.
Yeah.
And then I like I'll get, you might not know about this, but like I'll get a lot of notifications.
Damn.
right? Of people liking different pieces of content, different pieces of content. I accidentally clicked the Running Brands one.
What's embarrassing is I actually do get a lot of notifications, but it's from our collab posts. So it's like, even, it's like the most beta shit ever. Like I'm just like out here getting blown up, getting that secondary follow. And if you're one of them, I thank you because I know my Instagram's weak.
That's so funny. And anyways, I clicked through and I looked at the views and I was like, oh shit, like this is at 8 something. And then I was like, every week I've been looking just because I want to see it.
Yo, the real Sweat Equity fans are the ones that follow me on IG though.
They are.
Because they're coming just for the clips.
Yeah, it's crazy. It actually is crazy.
Zero original content.
So I've been getting more DMs out and I've found this interesting. That somebody's like, I'm consuming I love the pod. I've been on the newsletter for a few months and I'm loving that. Like they're part of every
they're
part of the
they're
ecosystem
in your ecosystem now. Yeah.
Which I'm starting to like, because in the past it was like, oh, like I follow you on Twitter and that was like it, right?
Low signal.
Yeah, and then it was some people like, oh, I read your newsletter, I love it. But now it's I'm listening to the like when they DM me or they some people like that I know and have communicated with text me. It's now very much like, oh, I listened to that episode, and then another text is like, yo, the visuals in the newsletter went crazy. Then it's that Instagram video XYZ. So it is interesting to see that the entire ecosystem or content ecosystem starting to work and like build out this these groups of individuals.
I think something that from a third party perspective would be, you know, and shout out to you if you're 45 minutes to an hour into this pod with us, but like, you know, if you're watching this, Alex started with 4,000 followers on Instagram when you started. You like called your shot in October, right? Like, and I mean, it went well. Like you had some good videos and like got up to like that first 12K range, but like, dude, what is this? Month 9, you know? Like,
yeah. And
you kind of started figuring it out in like month 6, right? Like you had enough early signal in like the couple of first months, but like you stuck with it, like, and you kept iterating. And
so like some of the learnings, right? So committed to in October.
Yeah, more from an encouragement, because you did the last episode where it was like, you know, you
10 to 40 or whatever.
You did like all the tactical breakdown about your content, but more so I think even, and I don't want this to become a mindset podcast ever, but like I just think a lot of people probably don't see success in the first 2 months of a new endeavor, and it fucking sucks. And we've both been there how many times? I can't even tell you.
But what I will say is my current number would probably be 120 to 50,000 if I didn't take January, February, March off.
Mm-hmm.
And I barely posted.
I mean,
because April, for context, like we set up OKRs, objectives, key results, all that shit. And like my objective was to, I think, post every single day in April. And so I had to do that. And I posted every single day in April. Mm-hmm. What happened? I had multiple videos go viral because I just increased my chances of going viral. And so during April, it was like every 5 posts, something popped off. Something got over 100,000 views. In April, I think I had 6 to 7 videos get over 100,000 views. So what happened in that month? I added 30,000 followers. I found all my content formats. I found the proper script writing. There isn't a video that I put out now that isn't one of those formats.
It's just brute force.
20 to 30,000 views, like on minimum or bare minimum. Now it's like 20. That is like now that is the base, 20, 30,000 views.
Why'd you stop in January?
I set unrealistic goals for the company and for myself, that instead of it working as like fuel to throttle, it like there were breaks because we didn't have anything to really focus on. And so, and we had people on our team that we let go as well. And like that took time from it as well. And everything that's happened from April to in Q2, basically everything that's happened in Q2 has, from the growth side, was really attributed to IG. Like the new product that we're launching, or that we've already launched and we already have clients for and whatnot, like that is going to get to 100K in MRR probably in another month, right? And that is strict. Like the attribution is literally content.
I mean, it's like I got a DM,
dude. It's content, DM, meeting, close.
Yeah,
you know, and it's phenomenal.
Absolutely.
But it's really a result of that KR and focusing on like, yo, we set all these different goals as a company so like, I mean, you see it on the whiteboard behind us, like as a company, every single month we are doing 30-day sprints. I don't know if, we could take a screenshot or something, but as a company, every month we are doing 30-day sprints and we are setting our objectives and the key results. And then somebody's basically like the CEO of that objective or specific key results. Do you guys
have too many?
No, we've been doing three to four.
Yeah. I'm literally just like open chatting about that. Cause I think about like,
but again, like
how I optimize my shit too.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
January through March had way too many. April we had like less, but still too many.
Yeah.
And then May and June no, April was good.
Yeah.
May was not, it was the right amount, too optimistic on dates.
Mm-hmm.
Because of how many different things we were shipping.
Everything takes longer than you think.
Yeah.
And focus is a superpower. It's like the number one thing
I don't know what I saw from, maybe it was Pat from Starter Story or something. He's like, I never met a CEO or a founder that like truly wins, like a big, like very successful, that doesn't know how to relentlessly focus on something.
Yeah. There's a Frank Slootman quote, or just like this. He has a book called Amp It Up. Frank Slootman's the former CEO of Snowflake.
Okay.
And his entire thing is like, everyone that works for you doesn't care. So the CEO's sole job is to just like build urgency within the organization, like over and over and over again every day, or else nothing will actually get pushed forward.
I saw something as well 2-3 days ago from George Heaton. He posted, I think it was from a book. So, and it sounds like it was this, because the title was like Relentless Drive or Relentlessly Drive or something like that. And it was all about people don't understand how exhausting it is to be a CEO and come every single day into a company and get everybody around you amped up for whatever the mission is or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve that goal.
Yeah.
Or that day. And
same thing with sports.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, like the difference between guys that make it to the next level and not is the ones that were consistent.
100%.
It's like cut and dry. There's no fucking negotiation about it. Like, there's a Bill Parcells quote. It's goated. You are what your record says you are.
Yeah.
And it's just, that stuff becomes truer and truer the more you get into business and life.
Yeah.
So definitely need to probably get to work. Should we cut this podcast?
Yeah, I'm gonna end with it. I am gonna end with what was it? A mindset podcast.
Yeah.
I was listening to a Jocko podcast episode this morning. Hit with one line that I thought was really good. Totally mindset. This is in Brian's arena kind of vibes with the quotes, but
I think this shit is soy.
Yeah. No, getting better is a campaign of discipline.
Yeah.
That goes hard.
That's hard.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's so true, dude. I mean, relentless every day.
Yeah.
But
we'll end there.
Sometimes you got to mix in a Mai Tai.
Have
some fun out there, fuckers.
That's the most Brian thing to say. All right, guys. If you enjoyed this episode, or if you just enjoy this podcast, you want us to keep doing it. We're gonna keep doing it regardless. But please subscribe on YouTube. We're trying to put the most emphasis on YouTube with clips and with making all the lighting and everything look better every single time. You should see Kate come in here and change up everything every single time. Like, he's putting in his work to make it look as good as possible. And, we're spending a ton of time researching, trying to put together good episodes. So if you can just like and subscribe so we could get in the algo and reach more people, that'd be awesome.
Leave a comment about what else you'd like to see. We read all the comments.
For sure. Or if there's any brands or shit that you think is interesting you want us to talk about, just drop it in the comments.
And we're doing a better job about linking things in description. Yeah. I know that was kind of a pain point. So we need to link shit.
Yeah. And if you want to follow me anywhere, @AlexGarcia_ATX, Brian.
Yeah, there's two. It's a well-documented issue. @Brian_Bloom on IG, @Brian_Bloom1 on Twitter.
You couldn't get Bloom just on Twitter?
You should see my DMs with the guy that has it.
Does he actually reply?
They just get progressively more aggressive. I started, I was like $100 for the username. And he ghosted me, and I was like $250. And I was like 1,000 or I'm going to come steal it.
Oh my gosh, that's so great.
But all right, we'll catch y'all next week. Peace.